and I've been enjoying watching it. Specifically, last time we saw it pulled out, it was a 13-6 victory over Fnatic, which is all right, to say the least.
Yeah, we've had some few surprising victories versus Fnatic. I think that's been one of the talking points of this whole challenges, is that maybe they're not quite as hot to trot as we were expecting them to be. They definitely ruined my pick'em, but I'm not salty about that at all. Now, Draken is just going to be jump spotting. Starting off with the defense might actually help them out a little bit, especially with the fact that if they can get a decent amount of rounds, G2, I think their defense is a lot weaker than their attack.
Those plans coming in right now. You've seen spraying away on top of the wall. Maybe thought that there's a player waiting up there to catch them off guard. Hey, that's a trick that we've seen G2 do before, but not this time around. The spray from afar gives keloqz the opening, and Leo's able to trade back, trying to buy that space. They need to close in the distance. Diffusing up against this many players and utility isn't really going to be possible. And left down to just the one. Well, Bunker will fall and give the pistol to G2. A very convincing and a very swift pistol.
Yeah, I can definitely see what Lothar is talking about, though, especially with so many different uses for the Sage Wall, how it can definitely be missed in a map like this. Take that pistol, for example. I do question how that would have gone if they just walled off the remaining players. All 4 players able to sit back, basically just hold on, and in a pistol round especially, I feel like there's so many utilizations to give yourselves opportunity to defuse and make things a little bit more awkward for G2. That, though, it looked fairly easy. A decent take, and as said, since this map almost came out, G2's attack side, like, I'm expecting 8 rounds.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And I think you touched on a very good point on how difficult it is to play when you haven't got Sage. You can't compare it exactly, because obviously then G2 would have taken different post-round decisions if they knew the wall could come in and all that. But 100% it's a valid point, and it makes your attack in particular very, very much more difficult to play around. That's something that's obviously being taken into account when Guild made this composition and started to play with it. But you'll see the benefits that Avova is getting out of playing this agent right here and now. Being able to put that spike down, even up against the pistols playing close, because it just takes them so long to destroy it. Now they've got the post-plan setups and the 2-man advantage. The objective, lose as few weapons as possible.
Yeah, and so far so good. Only 2 players remaining. Draken normally pretty good with the Sheriff, but this time Coldament already watching the flank, and with Safe so desperately low, it's just going to be an extra ultimate point coming in for keloqz. Now, one thing that I have to highlight, just because I've got so used to seeing this man only playing 1 agent, I'm very excited to see Yassine's Jet once again. It's looked pretty good. I think especially, again, we have to mainly focus on how it's going to be working on the attack side. I think it just gives him the extra ability, especially with the elevation, to go for those really fast takes into the site. And we know that players like Dirk are almost like, well, I guess at Kens have made that very fashionable on this map in particular. This is the round, though, where things need to change a little bit for Guild. A loss here would almost set it straight into G2's path for a dominant half.
It's very tough to make them work. It was similar to what we talked about on Haven, but to an even greater extent when you play with Spectres. And you got to take some close range fights. You got to force up the... Well, you could take close range fights, or you could just start headshotting everyone. Yassine's got 20 HP left. They've taken down Leo. They've got the sight. This is ridiculous. Okay, a snake fight's going to go down. That's not ideal. Avova can't fall back. He's stuck, and the wall's going to be broken. His retreat is completely covered, and at this point, he's probably dead. The wall up to at least provide him that little bit
He's not even going to leave.
of space, but he's tucking up, man. This is unexpected.
I like it. They've turned it into almost a positive. The only problem is when that wall goes, I think he was kind of expecting them to maybe push a little bit quicker than this. The patience could end up working out, but as they begin to move, it's actually just Yuki spamming through the smoke. What? All right, 2 players fall. The second go down as well, and for a bonus round, it really doesn't get better than that.
Well, you can survive with 5 players. I mean, that would be better, Tom.
I normally go by normal standards, not like alliance standards.
It's been a good little start to this map for G2, moving swiftly on from Tom's little jabs.
Just for reference, if there's any Alliance players watching, or any of the people for the team, I like all of you. I just like being mean to Mitch.
That is true, yeah. But looking at Guild at the moment, very weak weapons, right? Coming in, Bucky, Judge, great. This is where G2 should build up even more credits. I don't know if that's even possible at this point. They're stacked. But hey, if they can get away with this without losing a rifle, I'll be very happy indeed. In fact, one of the players is Bulldog, so you even have a little bit of leeway. And Kellogg's, this guy's just going. They have pistols, Kellogg's. What are you doing?
I feel like they're going to have to get him a leash at some point to almost just try and drag him back in some of these rounds, or maybe just have like a second keyboard plugged into the same computer where they could almost just like try and anti-strafe him back into the right position. I'm not sure that would be allowed by the referees or the admins, but I think it might be something necessary for G2 because that man just never lets go and continues his run forward.
And you know, the thing is, it ends up working out pretty well for them. They lose the Bulldog for it. And it's just a bit weird, you know? He's so aggressive when you watch him play. How many of these times have we seen, like, I think he goes aggressive the majority of the time. The problem is, it's not often taken into account whether that's a good idea. No. Mixwell has got max money and Kellogg's doesn't have a backup weapon. Like, he's a sheriff, but come on, drop him a Spectre or something, you know? Like, what's going on? Why are we maxing money and not dropping?
Well, I guess it made no difference. He died instantly. No freebies for the other team, I guess. Maybe it's just one of those scenarios where he goes, well, I know he's probably gonna die, or kill everyone, so I'll just not even bother risking another weapon. The thing is, though, this is looking much better for Guild. Already a solid start, but Leo is already tagged a little bit low. Now, the shock dart, along with the aftershock, it's actually going to get him a kill. Kellogg's will go down for a second time, so solid utility usage from Guild to keep the advantage, and Leo is just looking to take over. I thought for sure he was going to get a second. Somehow, Coldamenta has made this look doable. Now, there's obviously no res. Avova's already used it in this round. But how much realistically can he do from here? Because even damage, Mitch, would be huge.
With the state of Guild's economy, absolutely it would. Getting that plant down, extra ult orb, even better. But Bonker is close by. He is ready to pounce the second that Avova starts this plant. Will be pretty safe. Bonker stepping up above. Does Avova check this? No, he doesn't. That's going to be a defuse for Bonker. And it's going to be a round on the board for Guild at long last. Surviving with their operator, carrying forward another weapon in the form of a Phantom. Hey, it's all right. The problem is, G2 have gotten away with these rounds so convincingly. As I said last round, Mixwell had max money. I think someone else will have max money as well coming into this one. Which means that it's going to be a while before you face any sort of a weaker attack.
True. The one thing I will say in Guild's favor, though, is ults. Like, you've got either the ult completely online or maximum 2 orbs away. And the ultimates that they have, every single one is hugely impactful. Like, there's not one that's currently there for Guild that won't be able to do a ridiculous amount. Especially when you consider on this map, I want to say that Bonker almost uses this breach as a sentinel. Like, he's just trying to hold down the site, delay people as much as possible. So this Rolling Thunder could actually be huge just for delaying for rotations, which is exactly what he's going to use it for.
It's hitting Kellogg's down in the back, but we don't really see much reward. As Coldamenta takes down Yassine, the first man has fallen. Rolling Thunder gone leaves Hunter's Fury in their favor, and there's so much about to come online for G2. Nukia, Mixwell just one away from each of their ultimates.
Gonna go
with
back.
With the man advantage in their favor, they are just pulling back and going for this B site. And this is mainly because Mixwell has once again got a sneaky flank position up inside of the tube, and he's just avoiding this utility, not wanting to peek into the turret that he hears posted up to watch him. But once he hears some steps, that's where the swing comes in and he gets a surprise kill.
It's already going to be that showstopper aforementioned brought into the round as well. And although we've said that Yassine's might have been a little bit hit and miss, well, Nuki is anything but. So I think that this almost gets to the point now where Guild might have to consider just holding on to some of their weaponry. Unless Save can find a pick, I don't really see a way into this round, and the footsteps are now going to be heard. This operator might be about to hit the deck. Mixwell already peeking in, Leo watching though. That's so important. That gun being dropped to the deck could have been everything, but they're still going to be hunting it down. As you mentioned, there is so much money available for G2. They can even throw away a couple of guns here if they can get rid of that all.
That's definitely worthwhile. Safe still lurking around. Only got 60 HP, now needs to be very, very careful. And he'll hit the shot, securing all of the rifles for Guild into the next round. Something that is essential considering they are now 5-1 down. This map looked incredibly good for them. Same comp up against Fnatic. And right here, it ain't looking so fly. They need something to turn the tide, and I guess the hope is it's the operator.
Yeah, again, the thing is, it's going to sound like a broken record throughout this map, but both of these teams against top teams are putting in like 8+ rounds on the attack side. So this might be already starting to look like it's all doom and gloom for Guild. But even if they get like 4 or 5 rounds, there's still very much potential that they manage to turn this around. Both teams very heavy on their attacker side on this map. Now, does that mean it can't flip for a game? Sure. Maybe G2 will just close this out in easy fashion and there'll be nothing to worry about, especially with some of the players they have and potentially an operator for this man later on in the game. This is kind of madness, though. He should not have been able to get this far without being spotted, and by the looks of it, they have absolutely no idea, and they use it as bait! That is a perfect Hunter's Fury. I love that from G2.
Safe has also gone undetected, but only manages to get himself the 1 kill. Now there's a wall down, and the B side is lost. The mid control and kitchen has been so weak for Guild so far. G2 have sensed that weakness. They sent players above, under, and into tube. Leo at least catching a Vova, but Mixwell survives. A sliver of health, all that separates him. Shock darts on their way in, but not finding their mark. And so now Viper's Pit will remain up. Still a snake bite to play with as well for Mixwell. Shock darts being returned over. Mixwell has to step into that or it's going to go down. And it looks like he's going to sacrifice it.
Leo's already been dropped. We've also seen the showstopper expended, but almost just used to try and pull them back, make sure that there's nobody within the plant. And at this stage, there just isn't the time. It's ticking down, and Draken's already out of there. Bonker will die, and again, it's going to be another round on the board for G2. I have to say, there was quite a lot invested there as well on the other side. Like, they're still putting in ultimates to try and slow them down, and not really getting anything back in return for it. Similarly to what we saw in the previous map when it came to the attack. Both teams really struggling to find impact. This Hunter's Fury, though, for me, was just perfect. Like, sure, it doesn't necessarily guarantee the kill off the ultimate itself, but it makes sure that absolutely no one is going to be looking at Kellogg's right now because they're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. Those players are so focused on also where the Hunter's Fury is coming from and where that guy is spraying away. You know, the players making noise outside of B. So we noticed the mid weakness, and Guild are making an adaptation. They're sending Jet down through Tube in this round. Now, they do only have the pistols, with the exception of Draken, who is actually on the B side. He is stood by, ready to swing and take some kills. He's got pistol friends to back him up, pistol pals. And he's on top of the wall. Look at this. Hello from above. Free kill for Drake, and he's out of there. And that's exactly what they needed. A way back in. Oh, God, no. Kellogg, stop. What is with this guy? And pushing pistols. He loves it.
So ridiculously aggressive. Mixwell has now been dinked up as well. I spoke about impact of ultimates, where it seems the lockdown forcing them back has done everything, and now it leaves some weapons to be retrieved, which Guild have already done, and only 2 men left standing. Now, Coldamenta is almost just waiting for players to try and flank him from behind. It's expected that Guild would make some sort of play, but it also gives Nuki a little bit of space to move. Now, he knows that there can't be anybody coming in on the flank because his teammates already got that covered. The problem now, Mitch, they have very little time, and the expected outcome at the moment is that there's still going to be multiple players waiting on this B side.
Yeah, they're ready in kitchen as well. Coldamenta tried to sneak on through, but there were 2 guys watching it. And right now, Nuki is just waiting for someone to take him down. 6-2 we go. And, you know, for Guild, I'm really curious to see what their approach is in this round towards Tube and mid. Because we saw the push down Tube, but I don't think that's going to happen again, purely because, well, they did that with the Ghost. This time around, they need to have an answer, because that's the weakness G2 have exploited multiple times so far. The other thing I would quickly say is that I really don't like Kellogg's in anti-ecos. Like genuinely, it's such a percentage play. Like it's such a bad percentage play, rather. It doesn't pay off. You know, like what's the positive outcome? You get 2 kills. You farm Bladestorm ult, which doesn't really matter that much if you're as in control of the economy as they are when they're making these mistakes. And you know, oh, you get 2 kills, but it's against pistols. On range, you're fine with that anyways.
You know what, Mitch? I'm gonna quote bad Instagram quotes here and give you one.
Oh God.
And that is, if you don't like Kellogg's on his bad plays, you don't deserve him on his good ones.
Ugh. So the application's officially open for another co-commentator. Just Twitter, Instagram, doesn't matter. Just hit me up anywhere. You don't need to be qualified. Just don't be Tom.
That's fair. That is it. So if I applied, I'd automatically foul. But you know, maybe I'll give it a go anyway. Now we're gonna see the aggressive play from Safe. He almost goes down to the boom bot, and the nade might catch him on the way back out. He found the opener, but it pretty much comes to nothing with the res already coming through. Draken, though, this time is going to catch out that lurk from Mixwell. They're starting to become aware of players trying to make pressure into mid. Now all of the players have actually rotated in. It's only Draken on the other side just holding for any aggression back into mid. The plant likely to come through. Kellogg's, he's going to find himself one, and this deadly duo have managed to bring this back into a doable position. But now it comes up to Kellogg's, and you know what? This is where they need that aggressive play.
This is where they need that Bladestorm too, but he's been spotted out. 3 knives remaining. He's got time on his side if he can run it down, but well, they're just going to group up together. Shockingly getting rid of the knives. It's the Vandal play, and it's Leo to win it out. The fuse goes to Guild as another round is built up 6-3, and things start to look that little bit more doable. And remember, the closer the Guild get, the more pressure starts to be applied to G2. They're in a spot where they need to win not just this map, but they need to win Ascent as well. Both strong maps for Guild, ones that I'm sure they're not feeling too uncomfortable with jumping into to win out the whole series, make it to the upper bracket, and take on Ascend.
It's been a back and forth, that's for sure, but again, this is a map for Guild that they're more than comfortable on, and as said, I think if they're getting to 5 rounds going into that attack in half, they're going to be more than happy. Sure, a pistol, whatever, can make a pretty big change. Now again, we're going to see the same mid-aggression coming out from Kellogg's. He's been causing them a lot of problems. He's going to get forced off this time. And with his updrafts already removed, there's going to be so many shenanigans available for him anymore.
Things grow pretty tough for G2 to find a way in. I think at this point, considering the control they've given up on B and now middle, this is going to be commitment 99% of the time just straight into the A site. Guild have realized that, though, having spotted out that there's not too much going on, and a Viper wall's come up. It's time to rotate to that A site. They'll have 3 players here ready to stop the push from coming through. To be honest, G2 are kind of taking their time, missing a few jumps here and there, giving the operator a pick. It's all onto Avova, really. He's the one that you're looking to do some damage. Gets the first kill, but not much thereafter. Mixwell retrieves that Vandal. Oh, but nothing will be done.
They got to make sure.
Yeah, they took safe down.
Got to make sure they get the operator back. It's not in the most pleasant of spots. They at least make things a little bit more costly. I think also you then see the burden of the wall at the same time. Like, you notice how the second that is broken, it almost just becomes like a really awkward spot for G2 to try and get anything done. Because the whole aim there, get the afterplant, fall back. The second you're unable to get that afterplant anymore, as the wall is instantly broken, Spike is on the ground, it almost just becomes them funneling through to try and kill off these remaining players. So Guild have got to 4 now. This was looking like a really bleak start to the map, but they've definitely stabilized. The addition of Save Zorp, I think, being one of the shining lights so far. I think Draken as well has done a pretty decent job here. And Yassine is still trying to make things awkward, but I like this from G2. They've had a lot of faster plays in towards the A side. This time, they're looking for the same, and with Kellogg's making them some space, might make things a bit more awkward for Guild.
Mixwell's just rotated quickly to drop his wall. It looks like he's covering the flank and possibly looking to come on one of his own in a moment, but that's a real thorn in the side now. Drake can be re-challenged by Nukia, and the control goes their way. Now these remaining players are locked out of the site and locked out of getting any information for, well, not anymore because the wall's just gone down. With that, the stall is so perfect. Nukia's stepping, but I don't think anyone can even hear him from where he is. And this is massive because now this is where Guilds start to second guess themselves. There's even a smoke down on middle, a poison orb, I presume, which helps out even more. With that poison orb blocking their vision for a moment, they question, have they crossed to A? Are they on their way back? And they could easily be. But content with the information that Safe's been holding down, they remain stacked up on the B side where G2 attempt to push into, and a lockdown is sat there to stop them. Hunter's Fury to counter off peak misses. Oh, that was close.
Oh, that stun from Bonka couldn't have been better timed. He saved his teammate there, no doubt, after the missed shot. And now, again, things become tough for G2. Sat back of over. He's going to pick off one. He's got Cold Mentor alongside him, and 1 by 1, the Guild retake fall. G2 are holding on to this round, and Safe just can't connect a bullet in this one. Retreating now going to become very difficult as he's being hunted. And Mixwell, what? Mixwell not get the kill.
All right.
Oh, does he get the operator? Did they even
Final
lock
bullet?
No.
No, not on the attack. They're not feeling it. At 7-4, you said each of these teams are looking at about 8 rounds on their attack. Well, G2 are pretty close to hitting that mark.
Yeah.
They can close this round out here. It'll be a solid half all round. Still, though, considering how dominantly it started, Guild have done the legwork, but that round right there, it really felt like it was going to swing their way.
Yeah.
And it very quickly goes back the other.
Yeah, I almost wonder how they managed to let that one slip. A 4 versus 3, they deny the aggression. I think the wall was also used really early, so it didn't even allow them the afterplant. They just had to try and take more control. And then when they fall back, it just looked like everything fell apart for Guild. Like they weren't winning any of the duels, and that sat back defense just managed to do absolutely everything for them. So I feel like Guild are going to be a little bit disappointed with that one, but as said, if they end up with 5 rounds here, that's not going to be too much of a problem. By the looks of it, Kellogg's doesn't have a gun, which, considering he doesn't have a Blade Storm, is actually quite interesting, because they did survive with a few players in the last, so I guess... Oh, he's now been given one by Avova.
Avova doesn't, yeah.
They switched.
Well, Avova has the res, so it makes sense that he's the one looking to get aggressive. And those pinks, they go very well for Guild. The 2-man advantage now there is being locked down thanks to Viper's Pit. And although the res comes through, they've lost a significant amount of map control. Look at where the players on A are. It pushed all the way up. Safe is just waiting to take a peek and catch them on the flank through middle. You see taking a contact play and falling, and here's Safe ready to go out and drop the spike. Massive. Oh, well, they're just losing individual fights absolutely everywhere. Getting completely blindsided by these players. The turret down will, in fact, detect Kellogg's as he pushes through. And Leo closes that one nicely. 7-5 at the half. Let's just remind the people at home, Tom, it was 4-0 for G2. They got off to a fantastic start in the pistol, crippled Guild's money, built up to the point that there were 2 or 3 players on max cash, and they've ended up 7-5 at the halftime. Considering that incredible start, this is a disappointing half from G2.
Yeah, no, the fact that, it was like 6-1, I think that's even worse than the 4-0, because then they've broken them back off the start. So this is a huge fall off for G2. And as said, like, we were expecting fairly dominant attack size. Now, does that mean that Guild are going to be able to do it the same? I'm not going to guarantee it, but I would expect them to be able to put up a pretty strong half. So I'm now looking at G2 almost in need to not fall behind here, because I genuinely think that Guild are going to cause them some real problems.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Pistol round's going to be so important as we're talking about. You see G2, defensive side, full rotating to the A side. They've realized, but have they realized too late? Mixwell stuck in a corner, just being pushed on and getting away with murder. He should have been dead 10 minutes ago. But with that, Guild are actually on the back foot by quite a bit. Man disadvantage, not a lot of health. In fact, as they get healed up, they still end up with no armor. And, well, look at where Kellogg's is. That's a free kill. Maybe not, but he gets away with it.
Yeah, I thought for a second Dracum was going to get the perfect timing, and Kellogg's realizes, okay, he's going to be hunted down, and you're seeing... Well, he's following his doppelganger, but he's probably not going to find him. Kellogg's is just going to run all the way back to his teammates. I like this. We speak about this man and how sometimes there's over-aggression. This time, I think he's played that absolutely perfect.
I think it's fair to say. 8 rounds on the board. G2 win another pistol. That's both pistols in this map going their way, giving them a huge early lead over Guild, and yet they're only slightly ahead. They need to close out the second round, no doubt about it. And I want to see how the hell did he get away with this. Oh man, 2 right clicks. And Mixwell survives. Hey, if that was day 1 classic, I'd say that would have been an ace coming out of the bunker.
If it was day 1 classic, we'd all be in trouble. Let's not think about that. I don't want to go back to that. I know Yassine is definitely someone who misses it. I think he's spoken about it in the interviews. And now they've also nerfed his best friend as well on the Raze. Mixwell, he's just using this poison cloud to such an advantage. Even finding safe, who looked like he was about to be destroyed by the boombot. And here again is Kellogg's. I'm liking the aggression that's coming out from him. A really solid start to G2's defense. They've got that boost. They've got the bonus. Also won flawlessly. But now let's see how they do it versus the rifles. This is where those SMGs definitely have their weaknesses, but we have to wait and see how Guild are actually going to play this one.
The thing for Guild, they've been punishing a lot of the aggression out of G2, so on the defensive side, I'm curious as well how it's going to affect their round-to-round play, because we know G2 for getting aggressive, right? These aren't the kind of guys that sit back and hide and let you come to them. At least as an organization, they definitely are, and players individually, it's very much the same. Right off the bat, you're seeing aggression out of Nuki up on top. That is a Spectre in his hand, not some sort of weird Phantom skin, but he's feeling comfortable taking a long-range Spectre duel up against these Vandals and Phantoms. Why? Because he's Nuki.
Because he's cracked, that's why. Because he can do things that you and I can't.
Should you do this in ranked? No. No, you should not. But he can.
Yeah, I think that's basically what we can say for the majority of pro plays that seem risky. If you ever watch Kellogg's play, don't do that. Like, especially not in Antico rounds. You will, well, unless you're just gonna farm up all of those frags. But even then, probably still don't do that. Now, here we go. It looks like they're gonna try and challenge the ultimate already, sending a few pieces here and there. Safe just about getting away with that one. Now, they're not going to have any ability to bring him back in terms of HP, so he'll be stuck on low health for the remainder of the round. And considering they're about to go straight into an ultimate, this could be a big problem. The Viper's pick going to almost bring them within range. They have so much utility left. Wow. They're just delaying them. There's 20 seconds, Mitch. They have to go now.
Yeah, it's time to run and gun at this one. Up above, they're going to go right over, bypassing the ultimate. But 10 seconds left. They need to get this spike on the floor. It's being planted, but here comes Evolva, not able to get there in time. Spike planted. Now, she was on the other foot. The socks have been put on. At long last, they've waited in the box since Christmas, Tom. And it looks like Guild are about to take a bit of a run in them, because Coldamenta, he's the final player alive. It's a 1v4. And heavy post plans being played by G2.
He could look to make this one costly, but the rifle into the next round I think is going to be far more valuable. Maybe reducing a weapon. I know there's always the sort of thing in the back of your mind, if I get one, that's a win, but I don't think it's worth it here for Coldamenta, and he's got to be careful because he's walking into safe. Never mind, he'll get that one kill anyway. I might be able to catch another player on the rotation, just trying to find out if there is anybody watching the corner. There won't really be any information given away. Now, I have to say, I really like the plays in that round from G2. It doesn't work out, and I think if that's a rifle round, I would bet money that they'd win it. Like, I think that the way that they delayed everything that Guild was doing, got it down to the last few seconds. I genuinely think if Mixwell has a rifle here, he's taking at least one for his money. The issue being the weaker weapons. But I think all in all, Guild managed to handle that actually quite well. Some really solid entry fragging at the last few seconds. That makes all the difference. If they miss one of those shots or one of those players gets away with something cheeky, as said, that round would have slipped.
I'd say if he ulted on top of pipes, they would have won that. There would have been no way through with all the utility down below. Instead, they were able to slip up above without their feet being seen. But still, the benefit of getting it that little bit deeper, I suppose, was what he was aiming for. And also popping it safely. At 9-6, G2 have the lead, but for how much longer? Guild are looking at the A site with favor, but they have a bit of a lurk out from Safe. He's trying to catch this B aggression. And, well, there is B aggression. These guys even coming through the smoke. Kellogg's with another extremely aggressive play, but this time it falls on its behind. Oh, and another attempt. I mean, that's the right call. You see guys outside B, you don't know what's happening, you push up A. But with the position of Coldamenta and realizing there's no further contact, he should have been ready for that.
Yuki can only do so much. And it's going to be left onto Coldamenta now. And he's got to be careful. Oh, I don't think it's going to matter. I thought for a second the Safe wasn't going to get that. Perfect luck from him. I also want to say there's a small detail coming out from Bonker there where he shoots the boombot so that it doesn't actually set off onto Yassine. So that's why Mixwell goes around that angle just thinking it's clear, because they've already sent a boombot through that exact spot.
Oh.
So he walks around the corner and Yassine's just in there and you just think, oh, well, for God's sake, like we've literally used utility to try and clear this exact angle, but Bonker, just being big brain once again, is going to save his teammate from being caught.
Those last second reactions, man, like, or split second reactions, I should say. You see that utility, all the pieces come together. It's like we're looking at a chessboard, but when you get an actual player, right, like the real chess players, they see like 7-8 moves in the future. They know what the board's going to look like in 10 minutes. I like it. At a 9-7. We're going to need a few of those to be coming out of G2. It's starting to get a little bit scary because, Tom, as you said, right, you're expecting the 8 rounds out of each team on the attack. We know they're both extremely strong attack teams here on Icebox. And with G2 winning both pistols and only being barely ahead, this could almost be over already if Guild had have won those pistols. If they because in buy rounds they have looked way better. Yeah,
for sure. It definitely took them a while to get going, and I don't want to take anything away from the initial attack rounds that G2 had. I think they did incredibly well, but the adaptations that Guild made definitely made that first half acceptable for them, for sure. Like maybe they would have wanted a little bit more, but 7-5 is definitely good enough. And I think that is the reason why that you see some of the top teams like Sentinels, for example, play their A site with just duelists, because it is really tough to come up with a competent way to actually defend that site. So you just go, all right, we'll just brawl them. We'll bring out an operator. And even we saw that from Safe as well, like getting aggressive on a Killjoy to try and just win a round off of individual brilliance. This map is hard to hold. And so for G2, they need some of that, well, flair. Luckily, they've signed some of the best players in the world, Mitch, so they should have enough flair to go around.
Yeah, that they have. With Sheriffs in their hand, though, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do. A bit of a late read coming in on the A hit. They had a lot of presence around middle, hoping the kitchen and mid will be pressured, but instead, the A side has given up, I won't say for free, but very little cost to it for Guild to get in. But they're now being slowed down by the Viper wall. When it goes down, there's an actual slow there coming out of Sage. And at this point, there's now 3 players in position. With Sheriffs in their hand again, definitely not ideal, but a few shots like that, and the tides can definitely turn. Shock darts, every bit of utility they've got, blast packs on the way. Not really finding their mark, but softening up a couple of players in the meantime. But it, like, the thing is, Tom, short of a god tier play coming out from one of these guys, now that Guild have post plant, they're even going to use lockdown to confirm the round. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, if they can get this to half, it might be a little bit of a surprise. And actually, they're throwing a lot into this round, realizing how important it is. It's going to end up keeping them with 3 players alive, making sure there's economy built, but that's a really solid round from G2. They made that much more costly than it ever should have been. And if you look at the initial take as well from Guild, they were actually really methodical. Like, they've not only had like the initial setup that we saw with all of the nano swarms clearing close angles, shock darts as well being thrown in, Draken using some utility to try and make some of the site takes more awkward. So they were really making sure that all these angles were cleared, aftershocks as well to make sure the right side of sight wasn't going to cause them any issues. But then they had to use 2 ults just to make sure they hold on to that round. I think G2 would take that all day.
Versus Sheriffs. The Sheriffs get 2 kills and delete 2 ultimates. That's a big win. As good as it gets sometimes, or as good as you can hope for. At 9-8, having the weapons in their hands, G2 can maintain their lead. They're looking for some victims in middle, and again, it's going to be Mixwell and Chew, but it's on the other foot this time because Draken makes it right the way up, but Mixwell shuts him down. He's the man that always lurks through that tunnel, so you're not gonna catch him out with that trick. He knows what's up.
That's good cover as well, because I was looking at Avova's position in particular. Like, he gets caught out a little bit by the poison cloud, and it allows Draken to cross. So the fact that then Mixwell is still covering the back of his teammate, like that's solid. Like, I was thinking that would be an easy kill, so something to at least give them a way back in. Now, the B take is always going to be difficult when you don't have that Sage wall. Like, it's a lot tougher to make sure that you're getting an easy plant, so it makes the openers all the more important. Luckily, that's exactly what Safe has done. Now they have that secondary lurk, but Yassine, he gets nothing.
Yassine is still going to be lurking around kitchen, though, doubling back on himself. And if Sage's position is given away, this could be an easy double, and it is! Yassine turning on a dime to take that one, and okay, he's gonna go down? Hello? Nuki not able to land the shot, the pixel does him dirty, and Yassine even gets a third. What a dominant round by Guild. Sure, they burned up ultimates, confirmed the round versus pistols, but now they're tied up, and G2 don't have a lot of cash. They've just invested fully into that round, and they didn't get much done.
I genuinely am just in awe watching this man play. Like, it's just the way that not only he manages to get in there initially and catch players off guard, but then he completely misses, doesn't get anything, and then just does exactly the same again, just rotates back through, and then none the wiser that he's managed to get into that spot for a second time. Doing that once is difficult enough. Doing it twice doesn't make any sense.
And it was a terrible start to the round from Guild. They decided to send their Viper when they don't have a Sage to be the lurker. That then puts them in a spot where they can't plant B, but instead Yassine saves the day by just killing everyone that would have spammed them down. Mixwell starts this one off well. Yassine is down. He's got the only rifle, Mixwell does, of his team. The rest playing with pistols. The opening is good, but they need a little bit more. Kellogg's knife in hand. He might go in for the right click and try to take that Viper down. No real idea where she is. Draken gonna be tagged up, but spraying Kellogg's down. Coldamenta refreshing his health, getting his reload. But with pistols playing into this, it's about as bad as it gets. Very hard to find the impact. Now they're close.
Still struggling to clear this out. Mixwell and Nuki playing from above. Mixwell actually gonna go all the way back. He's trying to find someone on the edge. If he was to get a kill while floating, I would be a little bit infuriated, but I've come to learn that that's a very common thing within the ropes at the moment. Plant coming through. They're going for the more default spots, and he actually works it out. The calculation made. Another kill coming through for Mixwell, but can Draken get this over the line? Now that smoke will fade in a moment. The pit will disperse and give the idea over. He finds the one, and that's the player with the rifle. The drop down, and Draken's gonna hold on. It's the clutch from Guild again. G2 do so much in this round. So many good predictions of angles. But it is the victory nonetheless, and Guild go marching on.
What a ridiculous round. Mixwell was the only one that had a rifle. He had a Phantom, everyone else was on pistols, and they end up in a 2 versus 1, in fact. Look at this. As he turns, that's where Nuki was about to drop. If Mixwell was 1 second later in making that swing, he gets it. Look, oh my, I could feel, you could see the camera shake from the sound waves of Draken's scream. He was animated. That's the most animated I've ever seen that man.
This is 5 rounds in a row. So G2, there's been multiple now where I think they've had the right idea. They've had a solid plan. They've got themselves into good positions. And Guild still take it over the line. And it's starting to get to the point once again where you start to worry if G2 are going to have any sort of response. Now, one thing that does give me at least some hope for G2 is Kellogg's has got himself an operator. And having a glance over at Twitter, I've even started to see Ascend have started to meme and say that his keyboard is only W's, which, you know what? It's fairly accurate. I don't think I've seen him run backwards once.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. He has to turn around to run backwards. Kellogg's updrafting right away. He's got the high ground up on belt. Operator in his hands. It doesn't look like he's going to get the contact. You know, he heard it, so he knows that Yassine is there. Tucked in the corner. And it's why he fell down. It's why he's looking around for anyone. But Guild are playing this one super passive. I think at a glance, when they glance at the money that their opponents have, they'll realize. And that wall especially, when a Viper puts up the wall and takes it down, they're trying to bait you into walking in the open, moving towards the orb or stepping past it as it drops, giving their off a pick. They know what's going on now. Guild they've read that clearly, and now they're going to remain tucked in for the time being while B gets faked.
Alarm bot out.
We know that Safe, I think he's turned so many rounds on their head with just not the opening kill, but getting the second kill in almost every single round already. We're going to see utility used again. Sova combining alongside with the breach to just find these positions, force Kellogg's off angles. And again, it's an afterplant, but this time there's a double lurk. 2 players coming in from behind. This could make things really awkward for G2, and they actually come through in tandem, already just shutting this down. Leo with an aggressive swing, and now all that is left is the op.
The A defender and the last man standing puts on a pretty good attempt, but 11 go to Guild nonetheless. Now with a 2-round lead, 6-1 they were behind. G2's early half has been good in both halves. But unfortunately, when it comes to buy rounds, Guild are just looking like the better team, and we could feel that even when they were behind at like 6 rounds or so. You could see that when it came to rifles, Guild were in charge, and G2 still haven't found a response to that. And Tom, it's unlikely they find that response here. Look at the weaponry they've got to play with. Cash is so low. Now Mixwell's going to buy a Spectre because he can ult on this round. Well, we're probably looking at 12 for Guild.
Oh, we're going to see at least one of the ultimates used. That's actually where the value really is still held. Well, I guess for both teams, 8 ults available in this round. For Guild, we've seen them use multiple ults just to make sure that they're not letting any of these rounds slip, which and some might say is a little bit of an overspend. But they've kept a streak of rounds going and not let any of them slip away thus far. Bonker starting to put some pressure once again. Now, he has the spike, so I really don't like this peek. Really not a fan.
Draken's in the tube. He started to pull back, though. And now he's going back to kitchen. No, now he's going back down. Wait, is it kitchen again? Go on. Going forward again. Oh, I thought he was just going to play yo-yo the whole game.
Oh.
But he had great timing. He was in kitchen for free. No one had spotted him on the crossover. Maybe a super late lurk going to be attempted. Again, his wall down on the A side already, so I don't really mind him making this kind of a play anymore. It was different coming into the initial rounds. Kellogg's in a bit of trouble. I'm going to play back yellow, have a bit of support from the site. Navova is still also playing with the Sheriff.
You should run.
Again.
And what's weird, he's still in tube, bro. He's still there, and it looks like they have an idea, or they were worried about it. Nukia this time getting the Yassine treatment, not even being able to shoot that off. And guess what? Draken, he's made it out of the tube. Planted. For the first time in the round, he's taken a step down through middle, but Coldement is ready for it and almost takes him out. If he had been that patient, sat in tube for 2 minutes and then got just one tap by his sheriff as he comes up on the flank. I would have felt so bad for him.
See, now we talk about weaponry in this round for G2 being minimal, but that was 3 ultimates that they invested into that round. They didn't get a single kill, so that was expensive for G2. And now going into what is not only map point, but series point, a chance for Guild to take the best of 5. Now, even though this would still only lead them on to the final, I feel like this team has wanted to beat G2 for a while, since the days where they were the Titans, and now they're looking to do it once again. They've convinced me of this Breach Sova setup, but Nuki has other ideas. He wants to take this into his own hands. An aggressive swing, but he's stunned! He's stuck there! He just about escapes the second blast, but now comes that rolling thunder. They're not actually going to get him. He manages to fight the headshot, somehow surviving far longer than ever expected. And I'll be honest, this man has done an excellent job.
How did no one look at him? 3 people walked out. They're all looking at a corner. Wake up. Maybe they'd heard some steps, some fake info, whatever it was. That's costly. This round is now winnable by G2. They can mount that comeback into it, that retake, and already Mixwell is claiming a victim. 2 versus 4, Spike planted, but only 1 man to defend it, and that just simply is not enough. G2 take it to 10 rounds, and Guild are going to be kicking themselves. A res comes in, an economy res, of course they want an extra rifle, because the credits are a little bit bad.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's definitely, I think, one of the first, like, major mistakes I think we've seen. Now, don't get me wrong, the play from Nuki was still incredible, but there's no way he should have got 2 kills there. And as said, like, although Bonker currently sits at the bottom of the board, I am genuinely think he's converting me over to a Breach Icebox, which if you'd asked me that at the beginning of the map, I would have said no. But I wasn't really thinking that it was viable, but his utility has been so unbelievably impactful with stunning up players, clearing corners, and then the ult, even on defensive side, just to slow down pushes. I really like it, especially in combination with Leo Sova, which I think has scanned someone almost every single map, or round, sorry.
And the thing is, they played out of tube a lot. Oh, wow. Okay. Here's the first. The second for Nuke. Yeah, he keeps on going. This time, the stun will be enough to deal with him. I mean, Draken taking down Kellogg's on the B aggression. This is, again, still winnable. It's a 2 versus 3, and G2 need to be very, very cautious. Both players have been spotted towards the spawn, so the information is there to play with on the defensive side, but they can still take it anywhere, and especially with tube still being open. And that's something that both of these teams are struggling with. The tube control has been a massive part of each attacking side. And if you look at Bonker sneaking his way up behind and safe baiting for him, this is Bonker's huge moment. He's sneaking right behind them. They have no idea. He's going to go all the way down hall. Now, I highly doubt that they will suspect him to be on site like this. Maybe to be in kitchen, but his timing is so good. He's looking the wrong way, though. They're already up at yellow. Here we go with the swing. And he only gets
30
one.
seconds left.
Avova's so
Spike
good to
down
take
B.
that back and manage to put them into a winnable position. Oh, the Nano Swarm. He knows he's up front. Easy spray, but the trade is in from Mixwell. 11 to 12. G2 aren't going anywhere just yet. An extremely close round, but now they're just one away from OT.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The second Safe isolates that duo, I was thinking he might take this through. He's had a worldie of a series. 26 kills currently on that Killjoy. His lurks have been some of the best. Now, Guild are going to take a moment, a breather, maybe an inspirational speech coming through, a chance to put this series to bed, or maybe we're heading overtime again. And this would be the second time for G2 in 2 days to face off against an overtime on this map. The last one, they brought it all the way back and still lost. Now, that's only the second round that Guild has lost in terms of buy rounds in the entirety of this second half. A streak that has been very impressive indeed. 7 rounds in a row. Financially, plenty of money to play with. And in fact, there's still going to be some vulnerabilities on the other side because of how costly the rounds that they've won have actually been.
I have to say, Tom, the pause that's come in, I was wondering because I see over 7K on Yassine. I was thinking, is he going to get the operator here? Is he going to pull it out on the attack side? And it doesn't look like it. But a good time to call a pause for Guild because, as you said, their buy rounds have been so solid. This is a good opportunity for them to close it out. In fact, if it goes to overtime, I still see them as the favorites based on that success within the buy rounds. You take the pistols out, Guild have definitely been the victors here. And so that's, you know, kind of what overtime does. It takes the pistols out. But here we go. 130, we kick it off with Guild on the attack side for the final time in regulation. And Nuke looking to get aggressive. He's been fragging up on the A side this time, switching it up, and Kellogg's... Oh, he doesn't hit that shot.
May not matter though. Nuki has just been dominating over the last couple of rounds. Kellogg's, he's going to find another, and Nuki, that's another double kill. I think that's 3 rounds back-to-back that he's been finding openers for the team, and now it's left onto Leo and Draken. The comeback has been fantastic in this second half, getting themselves through the peak. Might give something to Leo here. That's at least one, but is he going to expect the second player? Almost definitely not. They're actually going to use a snake bite, though, and there's the peak coming back out. They've turned it into a 2v3 scenario. G2, you cannot let this slip.
The spike is down, but they can easily retrieve it at this point. This is starting to get a little bit too close for comfort. Drake, and if he gets that ult orb, has Viper's Pit online. This, I mean... They've got it, right? They're just going to walk out and take the spike. No one can stop them at this point.
30
All
seconds
that
left.
is left to do now is get onto a site, and the advantage swings to Guild. Draken needs to win this fight onto Avova. Avova about to take the peak out and around the right side.
Oh no.
It's already on the site, and here it is. The kill from Avova, the second to close it. And OT we go, a Spectre. Ultimately the thorn in the side that takes Guild down and stops them from closing the best of 5 right here and now. We're going OT, Tom. And I can't say I'm too upset about it.
Oh, no, for sure. I will admit, like, after we saw the 3 map points coming in for Guild, I was thinking it was over. They won a streak of 7 rounds in a row. And again, I feel like we highlight this man every series. It's almost becoming, like, the CNED problem. But Nuki in these last 3 has had so many impact plays. He was let off the leash. He started to get aggressive over onto that A site. And then did exactly the same on B in this round. And he was the difference maker once again. And even still, it almost slipped away. Now, we head into overtime, and if anything for G2, the fact that they got here with those 3 rounds in a row, that might just be the momentum they need. They go onto the attack side, which, as said, is the stronger for both teams. If they can kick this off with a W, we might be going to that 5th and final map.
Here.
We could be pushing it all the way, indeed. Ascent would be up next, and I would love to see that map. Honestly, both of these, Icebox and Ascent, set to be great maps between these two teams. Yassine avoids the detection of the drone, but he will be spotted. Damage done, but it's not the kill, and he is out of here. Draken spraying away, but not finding victims just yet. It's G2 rotating and looking elsewhere. They're deterred by that 2-man B stack, and, well, I can't really blame them for that. Oh, they're going to go out.
Snakebite's already used, though. There's not a whole lot for Draken to be able to deny them. Gonna place his poison orb to try and make things a little bit more awkward for them on the take. Plenty of time left for G2 still to move, and they still have the wall, which is normally going to give them the ability to get that plant down. Nuki, though, looking to click the close angle, and the snap straight onto the head. The stun, though, is perfect, but he's already taken 2. Bonka desperately trying to find something back, and still has that aftershock. The spam, I don't think it's going to nail anyone just yet, as Avova survives on minimal HP. It is tough now for Guild to get back in, as the afterplants always look solid, but Bonker again, this breach is just flying.
Oh, that flash is so good. Kellogg's can't really peek out just yet. It's Avova to take the contact. He's been so good in the last couple of rounds, and it looks like he's good enough here too, alongside Mixwell. They close that out 13-12. Now the advantage is theirs, and they look to bring us all the way to map number 5. And what is an epic series between these two teams. G2 being completely revitalized from the old roster, who would struggle to make it to this stage, and Guild, a team that again and again have been avoiding those main events. They never seem to make it there. They're finally in a spot where at least EMEA playoffs is guaranteed. Maybe even that top spot in EU could be theirs.
Well, that's the thing. We saw the comeback in the previous map, and Guild managed to just about get it over the line. We've seen the comeback again in this map. Is it time for G2 to finally close out one of these overtimes? They did it versus Fnatic in a couple of different maps. They failed versus FPX, but still took the series. And now versus Guild, they are a round away from stealing this one from the grips of their opponent. 12-9 was the score, and since then, they haven't lost a round.
Definitely able to perform under pressure. That one's been ticked off the list. It's got a
why has he got a
back up.
shorty?
Respect it. Respect it.
If he gets someone with a shorty in this round, I'm gonna be both impressed and a little bit upset.
No, surely not. We've had a pause come through from G2. They're taking this one seriously, man. Remember, thousands of dollars on the line. This is the difference between 6 and 10,000. And it could be this round here that gets G2 to the next map. Kellogg's has got a really good position, but he doesn't get anything for it. Draken's so quick to take him down. The drone even spots out Nuki, but he overstays his welcome, and Leo makes sure to kick him out. Although Mixwell finds one from the backside now. He's being pressured. The dash! How does Yassine still get a kill?
Player standing.
It might not matter for G2. The questions of how and why can take the back burner for now. Cole Dementa, the final remaining player, a 1 versus 3. And Tom, look at what he's up against. He's got a Breach, he's got Yassine, and then post-plant lineups from Draken. Pretty tough round.
Yeah, I think nigh on impossible. And look at Bonker. He's just making sure. There's no way that he'd be expecting anybody to come in from behind. He's going to try and jump in and tap the spike, maybe bait them into a peek. Maybe trying to make them think that they missed some sort of lineup, and it does actually pull Yassine a little bit forward, but he won't be able to hit the kill onto Draken. It goes to a second overtime here. Guild, again, I have to say, I'm absolutely loving these executions. Like, the fact that they're just expecting Nuki to be in those aggressive spots. I feel like he gets stunned every single round, but somehow he normally gets a kill.
The value as well that Safe has been bringing on the Killjoy is pretty significant. I think at this point, he's probably pushing past what I would expect. Like, if I look at any of these guys, the impact Safe has had, definitely wouldn't swap him out for a Sage. Bonker, you could potentially take out and put Sage in. Oh, wow. Very early aggression indeed. Bonker almost loses his life. Yeah, I think Breach has just been so important as well. Like, I really like this composition. I would maybe put a Cypher in there coming into the KO meta especially. We'll see how things develop on that one.
Gonna see the drone pop through. It will give information of a player close, and as we've seen in these afterplants, it's been fairly successful. I think Avova actually taken a bit of damage there, and Bonker again has managed to find himself a kill, turning things into a 3 versus 3. But again, it just seems that every single time G2 get into these situations, it has been really difficult for Guild to dig them out of it. Now this time Draken actually has some counter utility. We've seen him use it to deny their space initially. This time he's trying to deny them a little more. Cole Dementa, though, has just scanned up a couple of players and is going to try and throw in some shock darts and has whittled them even lower. A really good opportunity here for G2 to take home another map point, but Draken has other ideas. A quick kill onto at least one of the players. Mixwell, though, just sprays down 2, and it's left onto Bonker. No hope, as Mixwell will convert it. A 14th round for G2, as again, they look to take us to a 5th.
Switching sides.
4 kills from Mixwell in that round. What an incredible performance, putting him up on 30 kills, and it was needed. Answering at the last minute to put them up. One away from closing this out yet again and bringing us all the way to map number 5. G2 have had a tough time when it comes to buy rounds, but it looks like they've finally figured out the magic formula to at least match what Guild are bringing to the table. With the early fight that they found on B and entering in, it was a faster play, one that found a lot of success. I think maybe Guild, looking at that, want to do the same. But this is a light behold from G2. They're prepared to play retake on this site potentially, possibly knowing just how hard it would be for Guild to get that plant down if they don't actually get fights in the first place, or something like a mid lurk.
Yeah, they've used the wall early. Now, it's obviously valuable in the retake scenarios, but at the same time, it's something you mentioned that without those lurks in behind, without those pushes into mid, it comes down to a pretty tough defense. Cole Dementa, the chance he gets spotted here, but there's already a full rotation The screen actually going to give a little bit of space for Yassine to try and make a move, and he's going to get his way all the way in towards the spawn. A perfect position to potentially deny them, but Avova, he stopped the plant.
Spike down B.
Oh, Yassine coming around the side, but he's running and spraying, and Mixwell takes him down. Nuki with another. G2 on the verge of closing this one out. Only 2 players left, Safe and Draken. They're stuck behind Yellow and Sight. The spike dropped
left.
in the open, and players absolutely everywhere. This seems near impossible to make work. And with Cole Dementa dealing with Safe, Draken is soon dead. Surely the first goes his way, but then he falls. 15 to 13. G2 barely make it work.